Parents, what do you know about your kids that they don't think you know? My 9-year-old thinks she has a secret candy stash. In reality, I don't call her on that and other small bulls, so she doesn't put effort into getting better at lying to me. If you want to troll her, start adding to the stash. My 13-year-old daughter has a Kindle account on Crest Card. She sticks to her budget but doesn't know I get the emailed receipts of what she buys. In public, she has very cool taste, but in the middle of the night she secretly binges on Hello Kitty. She would be mortified if she found out I know that the reason we had to fork out over $3,000 in repairs on our truck was because my oldest took it mudding when he was 16. Wet, soupy, sloppy mud, and it fricked up the drive shaft and other things. He has no idea I know, but his partner in crime's dad told me this wasn't an old truck either. Ding the paint job. 2. He's 26 now and I'm saving the reveal for when I'm old and he wants to put me in a home, lol. That sounds like wedding toast material to me. When I was 16, I used to sneak out of my house at night to enjoy the thrills of underage drinking and hang out with my secret boyfriend and such. I kept a stool in the bushes under my window to help me get back inside my room after each outing. One night I got back and the stool was just gone. A mystery. I had to have the boyfriend come back and hoist me into my room. The next morning my dad gave me some side eye and asked, "Did you sleep well last night?" then proceeded to make me do yard work all day. Not a parent, but I wrote a note when I was 12 or so saying some random crap to my family. I love you, I still resent you for eating my cake, etc. and detailing what needed to be done in case I died. I wrote it as a kind of last will and testament, just in case I was suddenly hit by a car or something. Heck knows what I was thinking. Just after I wrote it, Dad spontaneously treated me to a nice day out, complete with fancy dinner and presents. I reckon he found it and thought it was some kind of suicide note. On a serious note, if you really are concerned about somebody, you need to talk openly and directly about the situation. When my 5-year-old puts on his Batman costume, he thinks that I don't know that it's really him. Child, I birthed you, and Bruce Wayne is not 3 feet 8 inches. One of my friends in high school loved to party but had insanely strict parents. Strict to the point that she wasn't allowed to have sleepovers, and the latest curfew she ever got was 11 o'clock. Everyone always used to think this was unfair cause her older brother had a late curfew, could sleep at anyone's house casually, and even would joke about how bad his fake kid was with his parents. Anyways, whenever we partied she would play hopscotch with the line between blacking out and browning out. Every time we would drop her off at her house, usually at 10:30, point her to the door and watch her stumble in, thinking the whole time, "Welp, she's done for." Without fail we would always get a text the next morning along the lines of, "Thanks for dropping me off." My parents didn't even notice. The summer before I went to college we were telling stories around a fire and she and her brother were there. Someone brought up how it was a miracle that she had never gotten caught and her brother started cracking up. We all asked him what was so funny and he said that every weekend she would stumble into the living room at 10:30, try to have a conversation with their parents but mutter absolute gibberish and then stumble into bed. No one in the family ever said anything to her because they thought it was better that she assumed they were strict and they wanted to know what she was getting up to. I've surfed with her dad a few times and rather than being strict, he's one of the mellowest dads I've ever met. TLDR. My friend thought she could sober up in an instant because her parents never said anything about her being drunk the next morning. They knew the whole time and went with it so they could know what she was up to. Anyone saying an 11 o'clock curfew isn't strict, it might not be, but most of my friends and I were very open with our parents and would tell them when we went out drinking. They would let us do our own thing as long as we didn't do anything too sketchy. I'm a dude and remember the time my mom demanded I came home early because it was Father's Day. I could hear my dad clearly say "I don't give a frick" in the background. I came in drunk as heck. He found it funny and mom didn't. My parents would find things in my room and always put it on my pillow. Got really awkward when it started being my cellar or empty packs of smokes. We still haven't talked about it, which made it even worse at the time because I knew that they knew but it was unspoken and the tension made it almost difficult to talk to them normally afterwards. I saved a letter I found in the trash can that my daughter had written. She was mad about something I didn't let her do and in the letter she called me a dong and a punk bee and some other stuff. She was probably 12 or 13 at the time, so the crap was hilarious. I've been hanging on to it for a while to wait on the right time to bring it back out. Maybe when she goes to college or something. My mom encouraged me to keep a journal when I was 7. She wasted no time in immediately reading the contents of the journal, but she opted to sit on the offense as it contained for years. Imagine being 14 years old and having to seriously explain to your adult mother that it is absolutely ridiculous to punish me for what I wrote in my journal when I was 7. I tell my kids stories every night at bedtime. When I'm out of town, I record them and send them across so they can listen in their beds. Being spoiled, they each have an iPad they use to listen to them. Being pretty young, they somehow don't realize I know how to use an iPad better than them. They each have the same recorder app I use to record the clips so they can play them back, and they think I'll never find the other stuff they record in there. Being awesomely sweet kids, they have recorded a series of their own stories on the down low for me to listen to at some point. I don't know when they started doing it, but it's crazy cute. I just started listening to what looked like a random clip the other day when I heard them conspiring on the tape to keep it a secret. I stopped at that point. My wife claims to know nothing about it. It may be a Christmas present or something. Either way, I'll be happy one day when they surprise me with their stories. If you can, you should copy those recordings. One day they may think it's lame or get mad at you and delete them. You don't have to listen to them. Just keep them safe. Former kid here. Dad thought he knew a lot. He eavesdropped on my phone conversations, so I said crap I knew would aggravate him. We are equally terrible people. I'd leave fake IMs up on my laptop because I knew he'd snoop. When I was a teenager, I had a very softcore VHSP collection that I thought was well hidden. One day, in a fit of guilt, I dumped the whole thing in our outside trash can. I took the trash out later and realized my bag of tapes was gone. Sure enough, my 12-year-old little bro had removed it from the toter and re-hidden it in his room. I felt really guilty, like I had corrupted him. When he was out the next day, I left a post-it note with the words "I know" on top of the stash in his drawer. It was gone that night. She's completely made up getting pregnant at 8 and giving birth to twins at age 9. At first it was a boy and a girl, now it's 2 girls. She supposedly carried twins to term and gave birth completely unaided with no one ever noticing she was pregnant, including the man that physically shamed her for most of her life. One died and was buried in the woods and she gave the other to her friend, also 9. She's never said any of this to me, but she's told her therapist, friends, and teachers. Her proof is a few new purple stretch marks on her hips. She's now 13. From her body changes from puberty, she states her first menstrual period was the Christmas she turned 11. She has a bad working memory, so her stories always change. She's had a lot of trauma, so apparently she's started to make up elaborate stories to regain control this summer. She's currently our foster daughter, but we have had her since she was 11 and hope to adopt her in the spring. Needless to say, we have to pick our battles with her. We're really working on trust and critical thinking skills. If nothing else, hopefully she'll grow out of this, or at least be able to make up more consistent and logical stories. Thanks for being there for her. It's obviously not easy, but you seem to be handling it really well and she seems to be in a safe and nurturing environment with you. I have a story about my mom. I'm a vocalist. When I was a kid, everyone in my family knew I liked to sing a lot, except I was awful when I was a kid. I thought I was slick keeping my voice down and singing that "Follow Me" song from Sonic Adventure under my breath. My mom heard me every time, and one Christmas, she let me know. This woman spent $400 on me that year to get me a good microphone, electronic keyboard, and an amplifier. I was in tears when I saw it all because I had no idea she knew I wanted to sing. She then, for my birthday, got me vocal lessons. Probably because I sang like garbage beforehand. My dad was a deadbeat, but my mother was a son. Man, I remember when I was a kid that I would always listen to the Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack from the game options. Lots of rocking out to those songs when I was 10. Good on your mom for honing in on your interests. I know how many times he has had parties while I have been out. Almost all my neighbors are military veterans who have a pretty sharp eye for cars that don't belong on our street. I know how hurt he was to lose his first girlfriend. I know where his pot stashes are. I know he has developed a taste for whiskey, despite his efforts to be flat and aloof. I know him to be of great empathy and deep introspection. And the most deeply personal one. During an argument I had made a comment to him once that I know he has seen my own character flaws and that I am no longer the hero I was in his boyhood. Later that night I overheard him tell my girlfriend that that wasn't entirely true. I have a toddler, so I'm looking forward to the teenage years, but until then, she does this thing where she gets all quiet and if you try and talk to her or go near her she just shouts no and runs off. Recently worked out it's because she needs to do a giant crap and pretends to be busy doing something else. Anyone mentioning toilet training, she is starting to want to sit on the toilet, and the last few times I've caught her doing it I've stuck her on the toilet, but she's yet to figure out the pooping weeing bit involved in sitting on the toilet. I cannot stop laughing, oh my god. My 9-year-old stepson is ridiculously smart, but gay. I saw him kissing a boy and told my wife about it, but she asked him and he said it wasn't true, the kid was just whispering in his ear. But frick that. I know what I saw and I don't give a crap. Be as gay as you want to be. This world is cold and fricked up, and as long as you live in my house you will have no worries. I doubt he cares that he's gay in this day and age. He just probably doesn't want his parents discussing his romance with him. I didn't even want to talk to my mother period at that age. And this age. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and my oldest pretends to love Harry Potter. He's 10. He and his friend made up a secret code language that I found the key for. And I read a note from his friend that said, I don't know why you don't like Harry Potter and I don't think I ever will. Your friend. That's very sweet of him. I know my 20-year-old daughter runs a successful blog writing smutty fanfiction. I know she also wants a sterilization as she doesn't want kids. I know my 24-year-old son sometimes hopes on his motorbike without leathers against our strong advice. I know my 18-year-old daughter is being cheated on by her pose boyfriend, but she won't leave him, so we'll support her when she needs it. I know my 13-year-old daughter's dream of being a game developer will never come to fruition, but we're going to help her aim for achieving it however we can. I think I know my kids far too well. In case you're wondering, youngest daughter is autistic with various medical issues, so we don't even know whether she'll ever be capable of having a job at the moment. It doesn't take a 15-year-old boy 45 minutes to shower every single time. Moisturizing lotion is also not needed while showering. I used to and still do take 45 minutes to shower. It has always been a time to just relax. And that's it, really. That my oldest is jealous of my middle kid. My middle kid is kind of a natural beauty. It's not that my oldest isn't beautiful, but people remark on my middle daughter more. I saw it written in her journal that she was jealous. I saw it by accident cleaning up, so I just try to make sure she knows she is beautiful too, but that it also isn't everything. A beautiful heart is far more important. My 14-year-old seems to have developed an interest in storing his spent seed. The second drawer from the bottom in his chest of drawers is about a quarter filled with mini ziplocs of CM. Just obscene amounts of teenage semen. Since I end up doing most of his laundry, I surprised he didn't imagine I'd find it. He made a cursory effort to hide it in a bag in the corner of the drawer. But, as you know, gym shorts always led to truth in the end. Quite frankly, I have no desire to engage him on the subject. As long as he remains healthy and productive in this area of his life, I'm alright letting him be so in this one. He's still a baby, so most facts about him fall under that category. He's only just figured out that he can control his hands, so I've still got some head start left. Hey, mom and dad have no idea I just pooped my pants. He smokes herb and isn't very good at hiding it. You didn't lose that bag, son. Dad found it and got high with his friends. Nice. I know my 12-year-old has been looking at pictures of Slave Leia on his tablet. The only thing I've said to him is a reminder that I can look at his search history. I guess he doesn't think to clear it. Next time you watch Return of the Jedi, pause it on the part where Leia is choking out Jabba and go make popcorn or something. Either looking at Jabba slathering and drooling will burn into his mind and he'll move on, or he'll decide to try autoerotic asphyxiation. Either way, I think he'll grow as a person. I was 8. In the 80s we walked 3/4 mile to school. There was a park about halfway between our house and school. As long as we were home for dinner or called to say we were eating at a friend's, no one cared what we did after school. There was a divot in the park that someone filled up to be an ice rink in the winter. We weren't allowed on it until the dad said it was okay, and there was always a heck to pay date in the spring. I, being a dumb 8-year-old, ignored the spring warning and fell hip deep into the pond. My friends hauled me out and we booked at my BFF's house, who had a working mom. We all dry up, swap jeans and call home that we are playing and eating dinner at her house. The group of us make a pact to swear never to tell anyone about it. No consequences were ever enacted, so we figured we were good. Fast forward 25-ish years. My dad's dying of cancer and we're hanging out remembering the past. I know what happened at the park. I didn't tell your mom. I miss him. Frick, my heart. It hurts. One of the mothers at my brother's school, who had first suspected her daughter was a lesbian when she was 14, was reduced to saying to her when she was in her 20s, "Oh, I don't know why parents get so upset when their children tell them they are gay. It's not like it's a big deal or would change anything." She did eventually tell her and mum's response was, "Don't think this gets out of giving me grandchildren." Her brother was severely physically life-threatening disabled, so it is possible the girl was worried having another minority child to worry about would be too much for her, or it never seemed the right moment to give her mother such a shock. From the perspective of a former child, I wanted more time to play Club Penguin on the computer, so in order to get my mom and dad, who are both nurses, feel bad for me, I put purple marker on my eye and said I hit it on my door, and the only thing that would make it feel better was more Club Penguin time. I learned this trick from a friend when I was about 5. Tried it with a big bruise on my leg where I'd been smacked. My mum went into first aid mode, but it all fell apart on me when the damp washcloth she grabbed rubbed off the marker. This is more of a personal story. When I was about 12 and started going to middle school, all of my friends started listening to hip hop and stuff like that. At that time, the Walkman, and a little later the Discman, is introduced. Nearly everyone at the time had one, so I bought one as well. But I was a little different. While everyone else was listening to hip hop, I was listening to Peach PUK, Dutch children's stories tapes. I thought I hid it pretty well. I know my parents and probably some friends knew. Peach PUK, Dutch children's stories. Thank you. I had the German translation of one of the books growing up in the 80s, and recently was trying to find that again, but wasn't very successful without remembering the name. When I was like 5 or 6, my dad used to read to me every night. One night I hid candy down at the foot of my bed so I could secretly eat it in the middle of story time. I told my dad to wait, and thinking I was all slick I went down under the covers to eat some chocolate. Apparently I came back with melted chocolate smeared all over my face. I don't think I'd ever heard him laugh that hard before. I smiled so hard, I could just imagine that scenario. LOL. When I was about 15 I had a Kindle Fire and a boyfriend. You can guess what kind of images he had been receiving from said Fire. I did not realize that every picture I took got saved to the cloud and could be seen by my mother from her own Kindle. I keep this buried deep down. When I was a preteen lass back in about 2001 to 2002, my father found my internet search history when I got my first computer with dial-up internet access. I, of course, was looking at P. He called me out on it one night and I blamed my older brother and clicking on pop-ups. He 10,000% knew. I'm raising my youngest sister, 19-year age difference, she's 16 right now, and I know far more about her P habits than I'm comfortable with. She forgot to close out the tabs on her phone browser when it was having issues and she asked me to fix it. On the plus side, I'm fairly certain I don't have to worry about her ending up pregnant. My oldest turns 5 this week, has no idea I know exactly where he is right now. I can see him swinging on the backyard monkey bars from this desk. Very pure. Give him a hug. My kids think they're really clever and I don't know that they suddenly don't have any fruit and veggie leftovers in their lunch boxes after school. I'm certain they've just figured out they can just toss what they don't actually want. How dare I give them health food in the trash at lunchtime? I can't be there to see them do it, so I can't prove it. The trick is to only give them that stuff. Inevitable I'm a kid but message. Seen it in HS. My mother just walked into my room and asked me if I was lying to her about everything. Me being one who lies about a lot of things. Anxiety, physical orientation, internet friends including best friend I met in real life 4 times. I am so scared about what she knows and this thread is not helping. Don't spill anything that you were not specifically asked about, unless you're sure they already know. My parents would say that when they thought I was up to something, and a good amount of the time I'd give them more details than I could have since I just assumed they already knew. There's no way my ex's parents don't know about the insane amount of fricking we had in their home. Every day, multiple times a day. Honestly, Patty, if you ever happen upon this by some insane chance, I'm sorry. You were so cool about everything and you were a real hoot. I'm probably the shittiest girlfriend your son will ever have, but still, sorry for sucking the soul out of him while you were in the other room. I think we all knew you knew. I love you, though, sucking the soul out of him. Gave me a real good laugh. Well played. Not a parent but my mum knows when I'm lying without fail. I've been known to fool pretty much everyone else. My mum's even commented on the sincerity of my lies. Right before she's like nay not buying it. It must be a mom thing. My mom does the same thing. I tell them they both have the same food allergies even though they have different food allergies for sake of simplicity. They would flip out if one got certain treats that the other couldn't have. My daughter, 9 last year, took guitar lessons last year and I was looking on her phone for a picture she took of something I was allowed and found a video she took of herself playing a song. I sent it to myself so I could have it, but she never said anything so I didn't either. I just think it's so cute but don't want to embarrass her. After my girlfriend cheated on me, we decided to take a break from each other. We're both hoping to get back together when she's a little more stable. I know. Don't start with me. I was told that I should say nothing to my parents about cheating or her being with someone else, because they're much less likely to forgive than I am. When I told my parents that we're officially on indefinite hiatus, the almost immediate response was, well, what will you do if she dates someone else? Then I can't be certain, but I can only assume that they overheard a phone call or two. So there's something my parents might know and might not think that I know, but I might know that they might know, I think. My mom would always find out everything I did, and I never had any idea how she knew so much. Until one day when I was about 14 or 15, she handed me an old VHS tape and told me to take it to my room and watch it. Turns out she would always set up a camcorder and just let it record. Let me tell you that there is nothing worse in this entire world than finding out that your mom has had a videotape of you first learning how to jerk it for years. To be fair, I was a weird kid and used to sneak into the living room after my parents went to sleep and watch all those dumb HBOP shows, so that's where the video came from. She just happened to catch me in the act, and probably didn't know how to confront me, so a few years later she just gave me the tape and never spoke about it again. I promptly destroyed the thing. That's seriously messed up. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.